But first, what is maxima and minima? A high point is called the maximum, or in plural, maxima. A low point is called a minimum, or in plural, a minima. How do we know if it is a maxima or minima? If x in a given coordinate is positive, then it is a minima. If x in a given coordinate is negative, then it is a maxima.
In this equation, y is equals to 3x squared times the quantity of 3 minus x. In order to determine if it is a maxima or minima, we have to solve for its first derivative through the use of the product rule, which is v times the derivative of u plus u times the derivative of v. So in this equation, this will be our v and this will be our u. Following the formula, v, which is 3x squared, times the derivative of u. So the derivative of u here is negative 1 plus u here, copy 3 minus x times the derivative of v. In here, in order to find for the derivative of v, we are going to use the power rule. So 2 times 3 equals 6, and 2 minus 1, what will be remaining is x. So here we're going now to multiply. So negative 1 times 3x squared is negative 3x squared. So in here, distribute or multiply. 3 times 6x is 18x, and negative x times 6x is negative 6x squared. We are now going to combine like terms. So 18x, negative 3x squared minus negative plus negative 6x squared equals negative 9x squared. Since they are both in negative sign, we are going to add them and copy the sign. So our first derivative here is 18 minus 9, 18x minus 9x squared. So our next step is to let y prime, or our first derivative, be 0. So y prime is equal to 0. So here 0 is equal to 18x minus 9x squared. So in this equation, we will think of a way in which we are going to obtain the value of x. So what are we gonna do is to factor out x, or ipapalabas natin si x. So x here, 18, what will remaining is 18 times 9x, diba? If we multiply 18 times x and negative 9 times x here, the resulting equation is similar to this. So in this equation, 18 minus 9x, we are going to solve for x. So in order to do that, we are going to transfer any of this number into the other side of the equation. So in here, 18 is equal to 9. Since 9x, since it is negative 9, if you transfer it to the other side, it will become positive. So all over 9, so x is equals to 2. So we already have the value of x, which is a minima since it is positive. So if we are done already getting the value of x, we are now going to solve for the value of y by substituting the value of x to our original equation here. So y is equal to 3 x is 2 raised to 2 times 3 minus 2. So 3 times 4 times 3 minus 2 equals 1. So our y is 12. So our coordinates is 2 and 12. Since our y here is 12 and our x is 2. So our coordinates is 2 and 12, and it is a minima given that the x here or 2 is positive. In this equation, y is equal to 4 times the quantity of x minus 2 squared. So, in order to determine if it is a maxima or minima, we have to solve or get its first derivative through the help of the product rule again. So, 4 here will be our v, and x minus 2 squared here will be our u. So, following the formula, v, which is 4, times the derivative of u. In here, we are going to use the power rule, times 2 x minus 2 times the derivative of the expression inside the parenthesis, which is 1, plus u, which is x minus 2 squared times the derivative of v. V is number 4. As we all know, the derivative of any number or a constant is always a 0. So, here, we are now going to proceed to multiplication, or we are now going to multiply. So, 4 times 2 equals 8. 8x minus 2 here plus, so since x minus 2 squared times 0 is a 0, so what will be remain is 8 times x minus 2. So our first derivative, or y prime, is 8x minus 16. So the next step that we have to do, since we already have our first derivative, is to let y prime to 0. So y prime is equal to 0. So here 0 is equal to 8x minus 16. So in this equation, we will think of a way in which we can obtain x. So in order to obtain x, we will transfer either of this number to other side of the equation. So here 8x is equal to 16. Since 16 here is negative, if we transfer to the other side of the equation, negative will become positive, and if positive, it will become negative. So all over 8. So x is equal to 2, which is also a minima, since it is a positive. It is positive. So since we already we had already our x, we are now going to find the value of y by substituting the value of x to our original equation here. So y is equal to 4 times, substitute the value of x, which is 2 minus 2 raised to 2. So y is equal to 4 times 2 minus 2 is 0 times 2, 0 times 2, of course 0. So our y will be also a 0. So we already have our value of y. So our coordinates will be 2 and 0, and it is a minima given that our x here is positive.